Thank you for joining. This is a networking lab demonstration. This lab covers routing. In the first video, PCs in different networks were not able to communicate. That continues to be true. A router must be configured to allow communication. In the second and third videos, I demonstrated VLANs and trunking, Layer 2 technologies. The reason for doing this is to control the flow of a certain type of communication called a broadcast message. Now that I have Layer 2 configured, I can now turn to the Layer 3 device, which is the router. The router will deal with messages directed to a specific end device, and that device resides on a different network. This type of communication is referred to as a unicast message. So to summarize, switches and VLANs are Layer 2 technology, routers are Layer 3 devices. The focus of switches and VLANs are broadcast messages, while the focus of routers are unicast messages that must cross into different networks or subnets. Let's go over router configuration. The physical interface of the router, G00, has been assigned an IP address. However, it is the subinterfaces that will be needed for communication within this VLAN environment. Each PC is also given this address as their default gateway. I've configured 4 subinterfaces. They are .10, .20, .30, and .40. The subinterfaces coincide with VLANs 10 through 40 configured on the switches. Included in the encapsulation statement is the ID of the VLAN with which the subinterface should be associated. Check the video description for the commands that I issued for router configuration. Now that routing has been configured, PC2 will attempt to ping PC13. The two PCs are on different subnets. Previously, the ping was unsuccessful for lack of a router. I'll retest it. The ping is successful. I'll do another test. This time, PC3 will ping PC4. Again, the two are on different subnets and require a router to communicate. Once again, the ping is successful. Now I'll take a step back and retest VLAN communication. PC2 will ping PC0. The two are on the same VLAN and same subnet, but on different switches. Remember that in such instances, trunking is needed. I'll retest to confirm that trunking is still working. Great. It looks like trunking is still working. The ping is successful. I'll retest the same scenario, but using PC3 and PC1. Perfect. Again, I can see that trunking is working. The ping is successful. Okay, it looks like the task has been completed, routing has been configured, and VLAN configuration has not been disturbed. It too is still working. In the first video, PCs were placed across 4 different subnets. Only PCs on the same subnet could communicate because routing had not yet been configured. Subnetting provides segmentation at Layer 3. In the second video, VLANs were added, but the switches were not trunked. As a result, only PCs on the same VLAN and same switch could communicate. VLANs provide a way to segment a network at Layer 2 and control the flow of broadcast messages. However, without trunking, inter-VLAN communication is not possible. In the third video, trunking was added. Switches were configured so that VLAN communication could be forwarded between them. Once trunking was configured, PCs on the same VLAN but different switches were then able to communicate. In this final video, video 4, routing was added. PCs on different subnets could finally communicate with the configuration of a router. Subinterfaces were used to manage routing for the VLAN environment. Subnetting and the use of a router allow for segmentation at layer 3. Unicast messages whose destinations are outside of their subnet require the use of a router. Just to clarify and to tie everything together, take note of this point. Using best practices, each VLAN is on its own subnet. Hence, communication across VLANs means communication across subnets. A router must be configured for cross-subnet and cross-VLAN communications. Thank you for watching this series of videos. Check the descriptions for configuration commands issued. There is also a playlist containing all 4 videos. I hope that you get the chance to watch them. Goodbye.